my goodness, we are fresh off the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Man, Nintendo packed a lot into 60 minutes, and we're gonna go through all of it. The good, the bad, and the very, very expensive. We're gonna go through everything. The hardware and specs, the price, the first-party games, and so many third-party games. And the information they might not want front and center, that's on their website. If you didn't watch the full Direct, or you just wanna soak up all the information you can, this should be everything that you need to know, and some of my thoughts and opinions on these announcements. Let's start with the hardware first. I love the way that the Switch 2 looks. It's really similar to the Switch 1. I love that the accent colors are so subtle but pop still. They managed to fit a ton of tech into this little console. With a 7.9-inch screen compared to its predecessor's 6.2-inch screen, they still managed to keep the same thickness of the console. So even with a bigger system, hopefully it's not going to feel as bulky. And with this larger screen comes a better resolution, going from 720p up to 1080p. And while we do lose an OLED display, we do get an HDR-enabled LCD screen that supports up to 120 frames per second on a handheld. That's pretty cool. When docked, the Switch can output up to 4K and 120 frames per second, which means the Switch now joins the industry standard of choosing between performance and quality mode. And with all that heavy lifting, there's a fan in the dock as well to keep your console cool. And it's confirmed that the top port does work for charging while in tabletop mode, and other things. The built-in speakers have been improved, and it says that they have 3D sound that should be enabled with an update, and there's a microphone at the top right of the system. Nintendo claims this built-in mic has noise cancellation and can filter out just your voice. In the trailer, they showed a guy using a blender like 20 feet away from the system. Supposedly, it's gonna filter out all that sound. I have my doubts, but we'll see when the system comes out. Hopefully they've learned their lesson from the Wii Speak. 256 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD Express for expanded storage. So unfortunately the microSD cards used on your Switch now aren't gonna work with the new one. The Joy-Cons have huge improvement too, with larger steel SL and SR buttons and larger control sticks, but no mention if they're Hall effect or not. We also learned later on in the Direct that the Joy-Con 2s will support HD Rumble too. What does that mean? I don't know, but it does say that the rumble motors are attached to the shell, and it looks like the IR camera has been removed. I know, we're all devastated. And their not so subtle hints of a mouse mode for the Joy-Con have been confirmed as well. Both Joy-Con 2s will have mouse functionality. Some games will use both, and some games will have a mixed control scheme, which I'm very excited about. More on that later. Using the mouse mode with a gyroscope looks to have some pretty cool applications in games. And on the right Joy-Con, below the home button, is the mysterious C button. The Pro controller has a sleek design looking a lot like the original, but also with an added C button, an audio jack, and back grip buttons, which they call GL and GR. I assume for grip left and grip right. Now, what does that C button do? The question we've all been asking. Is it for casting to the TV? Is it for cloud streaming? No. It's not. It's for chat. It's for game chat. This feature, new to Nintendo, lets you join calls with your friends. Kind of looks like Discord. And with that built-in microphone on the system, you can ditch using the Nintendo Switch Online app for voice chat. Of course, Nintendo has to add their own unique flair, and we have a camera now. They focused a lot on this camera through a good amount of the Direct. You plug it into the top USB-C port, and it looks like it cuts out your background and puts you in the game. Now, I totally see what they're going for on this. I just don't really know who that's for. It's definitely not for me. It is always nice to see Nintendo experimenting with new things. We'll see if this one sticks around. Again, I have my doubts. But when you join a game chat, you can share your screen so they can see what you're playing. And if you have the camera plugged in, they can see your video as well. Again, it's a cool idea. We'll see how that works in practice though. It seems like a focus they have for this console is connectivity and sharing, which leads us to a feature that I'm super excited for: Game Share. Only one person needs to own a copy of the game, then it can be shared to the original Switch or Switch 2 consoles for them to have their own screen as well. They showed this off with Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, which is going to be the first one they have with this feature, and then others that are going to come later. I think it's a great idea. It reminds me of DS download play. I have a lot of great memories playing Mario Kart and Mario Party on the DS with my friends through download play, and this feature elicits a lot of the same emotions. It honestly just seems like a great feature, and I'm kind of surprised to see it on the lineup, especially with support for Switch 1 systems. Moving to the software side, they announced Nintendo Switch 2 editions of Nintendo Switch 1 games, some with terribly long titles like Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV, which adds new modes and minigames featuring the mouse and, you guessed it, the Nintendo Switch camera. Now historically, Mario Party's been a game they experiment with. Think of the microphone from the GameCube games, but it looks like they really leaned all in for this one. And it's also compatible with the Game Share for local multiplayer. We also got Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Star Cross Worlds. which adds a whole new story and is, quote, visually enhanced. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom also get their own Nintendo Switch 2 editions, which have, quote, improved frame rates and resolution. And even through the YouTube stream, it looked really good. And with this upgraded edition, they also added support for their Nintendo Switch Online mobile app. Yep, I guess that's not going away. In the Direct, they showed a GPS that they added through the app, but if you watch their standalone trailer they put out, they've also added voice memories that you can find throughout the game, from Zelda and other characters, which is kind of a cool bonus. Through the companion app, you can also access global play data. You can also roll for a daily bonus that gives you some kind of perk. Things from health recovery, bow repairs, fireproof elixir, and stamina recovery. Whatever effect you get goes to the key items section in your inventory. Pokemon Legends ZA Nintendo Switch 2 edition boasts higher resolution and frame rate. Maybe it'll hit 30 FPS this time. And the one I'm most excited for, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 edition, has mouse controls, letting you use one Joy-Con normally and the other Joy-Con in mouse mode for aiming. And the performance versus quality mode shows its face, letting you choose to play in either 4K 60 frames per second or 1080p at 120 frames per second. This game looks incredible. I can't wait to see how it looks on the Switch 2. Now, with how many third-party developers were reluctant to bring their games to the Switch or stayed absent the whole generation, I was blown away with just how many games are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. The two standouts for me being Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which looks to be Tears of the Kingdom's version of Age of Calamity, going back to the imprisoning war and playing through those battles. I'm interested to see the way they take this and if they actually let this story be canon. And if you've played Tears of the Kingdom, you'll probably look at this gameplay and go, oh, so that was the imprisoning war. But to me, the biggest reveal was the Dusk Bloods, a new entry from FromSoft that is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I'm sure a lot of people won't be happy about its exclusivity, but having a game from the developers of Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Sekiro exclusive on your console, that's a pretty big deal for Nintendo. FromSoft is also bringing Elden Ring over to the Switch 2, with Elden Ring Tarnished Edition. Even more heavy hitters, Hades 2, Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion, EA Sports FC and Madden, Hogwarts Legacy Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, Hitman World of Assassination, a new game project 007, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, and Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, all coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. And they had so many other third-party games, they split their sizzle reel into 2 separate videos on their YouTube channel. Here's the full list on each video if you want to check them out. Some standouts being Hollow Knight Silksong, Borderlands 4, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Enter the Gungeon 2, and Star Wars Outlaws for some reason. But oh boy, we haven't even touched the first-party games, the heavy hitters. What has Nintendo developed in-house for us this time? Well, there's a tech demo-esque game, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, that has lots of information about the system and also minigames showcasing its features, but it's not a pack-in, it's paid software. They also showcased a new game, Drag and Drive. Looks pretty interesting. It's showing off some interesting mouse mode controls, which could make for an interesting experience. Now, I need to see more of that. To me, it doesn't look like something that would hold my attention for more than an afternoon, but I love the creativity behind it. They also opened the Direct with Mario Kart World, which is exactly what I've been hoping Mario Kart would be for the last several years now. It features an open world that you can free roam drive around. Looks like all the courses are connected, and the Grand Prix have you play one course, then drive to the next one. This is easily the biggest Mario Kart game we've ever seen. I cannot wait to play this. They have added mechanics like rail grinding, wall jumping, your carts can turn into planes, jet skis, and can off-road. And the courses have different effects based on the weather and the time of day. We got a glimpse at new and returning stages and a whole lot of new characters. Looks like you can race as just about anything that's ever breathed in a Mario Kart game. There's also some kind of feature that has new costumes as well. And I was keeping an eye out for this one, we still have 2 item slots. Mario Kart World is going to be a launch title for the Switch. Sakurai's project he's been working on in secret also got announced. No, it's not Smash, it's not Kid Icarus. It's a new Kirby Air Ride game, Kirby Air Riders. We didn't really see any gameplay, but this game is still slated for 2025. And Nintendo Switch Online will now have the long-awaited GameCube games, but only on Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo highlighted higher resolution and clearer visuals, and the ability to remap your controls. It will launch the same day as the Switch as well, with Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX, with more games being added later, like Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Super Mario Strikers, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, and Pokemon Colosseum. They also showed us a beautiful new wireless GameCube controller with all the extra buttons you'd need for the modern console. And Nintendo's big one more thing wasn't a 3D Mario, it's a new 3D Donkey Kong. Oh my gosh, this game looks amazing. I love this new design for Donkey Kong. He's so expressive and animated in this trailer, and the gameplay is just as over the top to match it. It looks like from the trailer you can break apart just about anything from the ground to the rocks around you, and the movement looks so fun. Like they translated a moveset from Donkey Kong Country and reimagined it for 3D. Nintendo's website says that Donkey Kong will make his way through the depths of the underground world. The deeper he goes, the more amazing places he finds. I am thrilled for this new game. I'm so excited for Donkey Kong to get his own new adventure, especially one as flashy and over the top as this one. Donkey Kong Bonanza releases on July 17th. Now, we get to the end of the things that are announced, and you might be wondering, what about the prices? Well, so were we. Nintendo cleverly avoided talking about any of the prices for their products. This had me worried. I was really hopeful that the Switch 2 would cost $400, but it looks like it's coming in at $449.99. Or you can buy a bundle with Mario Kart for $499.99. Yeah, that one hurts. If you're planning on picking up Mario Kart World anyway, the bundle's definitely the way to go because Nintendo's also pricing Mario Kart World at $79.99. Yeah, $80 for this game. Now, this game does look incredible, but I'm looking forward to hearing why Nintendo decided to price it at that. Maybe they'll say that this really is a quadruple A game and use that as justification for the increased price. Or maybe they know that people are gonna buy Mario Kart anyway, so they could really charge whatever they want for it. Either way, $80 that's a hard pill to swallow, and it makes me nervous for the precedent this might set for other companies going forward. Donkey Kong Bonanza, however, is hitting that $69.99 price point, matching the $70 we see across the rest of the gaming industry. Looks like their big budget games are done being $60 now. The Switch 2 Pro controller is going to be $79.99, a pair of Joy-Con is $89.99. Oh, and that Nintendo Switch 2 camera, you better set aside another $49.99 for that one. And the Nintendo Switch 2 dock set is $109.99. All of these in US dollars. Wow, this pricing is pretty tough. I really think Nintendo should have just put their price at the end of the presentation, even if it is off-putting to the consumer. With the quality of the hardware and the amount of tech that was put into it, I can't understand why they're going for a higher price point, but I can't say that I'm happy about it, especially with their biggest launch game being $80. It's disappointing to say the least. Pre-orders for the system go live on April 9th, but if you log in through the My Nintendo website, you can register your interest in buying a Switch 2 system. Choose the standard console or the bundle with Mario Kart World, and make sure you choose carefully, because once you select it, you can't go back, and they'll notify you when you're able to go and place an order through their website. Having the pricing information drip-fed after the Direct definitely left a bad taste in my mouth, but overall, this was an incredible Direct. Games and publishers that had been long gone from Nintendo have made their return. After recapturing the world's attention with the original Switch, I think this is a really strong start to their next generation. But even with great new third-party games and a lot of impressive ports coming over, the $450 price tag I think is going to be a tough hill to climb, especially when you can buy a PS5 for $400 that plays all of those same third-party games probably a lot better. But like always, Nintendo's strong lineup of first-party games and unique IP are going to be the driving factor for this new system. I can't wait to get my hands on one of these and start playing through Mario Kart World. But let me know what you think about this Direct down in the comments. Are you excited for this new console? What's your most anticipated game? Was the sound delay just as confusing for you on the stream? I also did a video about some of the design changes that the Mario characters have seen recently, and especially now with new games that have been revealed, I think it's definitely worth a watch. And if you enjoyed this video or if you learned something, consider giving it a like or even subscribing. There's gonna be a whole lot more coming out this week about the Nintendo Switch 2, and we're gonna be talking about it. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching this video and sticking around to the end.